All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to pull apart a ghost story, piece by piece, and see what makes it tick. We really want to get to the bottom of how a story can take something as simple as a sound and twist it into an absolute monster. Let's start the dissection.
So this is the big question, isn't it? We're not talking about monsters you can see or things that jump out at you from the closet. We're talking about how a sound, something you can't even touch or fight, can be used as a weapon to create this deep, psychological fear. We're going to break down exactly how it works.
And to do that, we're going to use a fantastic Hindi horror story as our case study. In this story, the ahat, which just means the sound of a footstep, isn't just a spooky noise. It is the monster. And you know, by the time we're done here, you might just find yourself listening a little more closely to the noises in your own home.
Okay, so before you can introduce a monster, you have to set the stage. The best horror stories, they don't just throw something scary at you. No, they build a world that already feels off, a world that's buzzing with anxiety. They create a soundstage of fear.
This story does that beautifully. Right away, it drops us into Bhairavpur. It's this remote, old village. The streets are totally deserted, and right in the middle of it all is this crumbling, creepy old mansion. But here's the key detail. The story talks about the sansamhat. That's this specific hissing, whistling sound the wind makes as it blows through the broken windows. See, the air itself sounds wrong. It's not just quiet. It's an active, unnerving kind of silence.
So we've got our creepy atmosphere. It's all set. Now the story introduces its main threat. And this is where the real genius is. The monster isn't some creature making a sound. The sound is the creature.
Of course, a story like this needs a catalyst, right? Someone to go and poke the hornet's nest. And that someone is Reena. She's visiting the village, and on a dare, she just scoffs at all the local ghost stories. Ghosts? No such thing, she says, and marches right into that mansion alone, with just a flashlight. She's our way in.
And this is the moment. Reena's inside. She calls out, "Who's there?" and gets nothing back. No answer. Just a sound, an ahat. A single footstep. But it's not random. It has a direction. It has intent. It's moving towards her. The sound is now a character in this scene, and its goal is to hunt her.
After Reena's terrifying experience, the horror doesn't just stay inside the mansion. Oh no, it gets out. Like a virus, that sound begins to spread through the village, infecting the mind of one person after another. It's the contagion of fear.
And you can actually see how this fear just snowballs. First, it's just a sound for Reena inside the house. But then, for a barber named Raghu, the footstep is followed by him actually seeing a white shadow with green eyes. Next, for the village skeptic, the schoolmaster Aniruddha, it becomes a whisper, right in his ear. The entity is changing. It's adapting its scare tactics for each new victim, until the whole village is just frozen, listening for a sound they know is coming for them.
What's so clever is how the story shows the sound's power over different people. You've got Raghu, the believer, who is driven mad almost immediately. But then you have Aniruddha, the man of science, who tries to explain it all away. He hears these heavy footsteps right behind him, he spins around, the road's empty, and he thinks, "Oh, it must be my imagination," until the sound proves him dead wrong. It shows the ahats can break anyone, whether you believe in ghosts or not. And here's where it really kicks into another gear. The sound isn't just a footstep anymore. As Aniruddha is standing there trying to rationalize what he heard, it whispers directly into his ear. You can't escape. It just went from a simple, scary sound to an intelligent, talking entity with a very clear, very terrifying message. There is literally nowhere to run.
So at this point, the whole village is paralyzed with fear. Reena finally realizes that hiding is pointless. You can't hide from a sound. The only path forward is to turn around and face whatever is making it. So the story shifts from just pure horror into a really dark investigation.
So Reena gets together with the now-believing schoolmaster Aniruddha and a level-headed police officer named Arvind. It's this unlikely little ghost hunting team, and their plan is simple and absolutely terrifying. Go back to the mansion at midnight and go down into the one place no one's dared to look, the cellar. They're not running from the sound anymore. They're walking right towards it. Down in that cold, damp cellar, they get their first real clue. A message just materializes on the wall, written in what looks like blood. And it's a direct threat. My curse is the ahat. Whoever hears it, their end will come. This isn't just a haunting anymore, it's a death sentence. The stakes just went through the roof. And then she appears,
The voice, behind the sound, finally reveals itself. A ghost appears and tells him the whole tragic story. Her name is Lalita. 100 years ago, her husband buried her alive in that very cellar. Her unheard screams, her struggle, her final footsteps, they just never stopped. They became the ahat. Now the sound has a name, a face, and a powerful reason for its anger.
So their logic is pretty classic ghost story 101, right? The ghost is tied to her physical body in the mansion, so if you destroy the mansion, you destroy the ghost. So, in this final, desperate move, they set the entire mansion on fire, hoping that the flames will finally silence that 100-year-old sound.
So the mansion's a pile of ashes. It seems like the nightmare is finally over. The source is gone. The curse should be lifted. But the most terrifying stories? They know that real fear doesn't just go away that easily.
They get one night, just one. For a single night, the village of Vairav is silent. No footsteps, no whispers, no fear. Everyone breathes this huge, collective sigh of relief. They think they've won. It's a classic move in horror, the false ending.
And here it is, the gut punch. Days later, far away from the burned-down mansion, safe in her own room, Rina hears it. That sound, the ahat. Slow, deliberate, getting closer. Burning the mansion did nothing. They destroyed the house, the body, the history, but they couldn't destroy the sound itself.
And this right here, this is the story's big, terrifying idea. We go in expecting a ghost that's stuck in one place, a problem you can solve by finding some bones and burning them. But what we get is so much worse. The ahat was never just a ghost. It was an idea, a curse that, once you hear it, it's imprinted in your brain. You can't unhear a sound. The terror is portable now. It follows you home.
The story's final lines really nail this down perfectly. The footstep isn't some external threat anymore. It's become an internal one. It's that dark shadow that follows you everywhere, a perfect metaphor for a fear that you can never really escape. You just have to wait for it to find you again.
And that's what makes this whole thing so brilliant. By focusing on sound, the story completely bypasses our eyes and attacks a much more primal part of our brain. And it leaves us with this really chilling question. Now that you've heard the story, now that the idea of the ahat has been planted in your head, what are you going to think the next time you're alone and you hear a random creak?